Discrimination is happening right now.
Australia has a dark history that we need to acknowledge.
As an Indigenous Australian and a person of colour, the Black Lives Matter movement is nothing new to myself or my ancestors.
It's time Australia acknowledges its history, rooted in the removal and oppression of Indigenous people.
As an Australian Opal, I believe it's time for us to use our platform. It's important for us to use our voices right now to amplify the inequities that Black people face here in Australia, as well as worldwide.
It's time to take a stance. It's time to have those difficult conversations.
But it's nowhere near as hard, overwhelming, or uncomfortable as it is to live as the oppressed in our society every single day.
Silence is compliance, so I stand with all Black, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders to make change. Racism happens all over the world and enough is enough. It's important to learn and educate ourselves on these matters because learning about racism is much easier than living and experiencing it on a daily basis.
I understand that I will never understand what it's like to experience racism.
I will never know what it's like to grow up in your shoes or to face the challenges that you do daily. I will not pretend to understand what being a part of systemic racism is like, but I will educate myself so that I can be a part of the change.
The more we can educate society and provide context to the current climate of unrest and protests around the world, the better. We need more representation and Indigenous faces and voices everywhere if their perspectives are to be taken into account in order to create change. Black Lives Matter too.
We must continue to educate ourselves and others in order to stamp out racism.
And so I will continue to learn, and in particular here in Australia, about culture and history here in Australia. I will continue to ask questions. I will continue to call people out, and I will continue to have conversations because it's the right thing to do. I am here to show support and provide love to all of my Black, Australian Indigenous and Torres Strait Islander friends, to continuously learn and educate myself, my friends, my family and others around me in the Black Lives Matter movement.
I believe it's important for diversity to be represented and supported within the basketball community. It's about educating ourselves and taking action with what we can do better. It's about not remaining silent. It's about having those uncomfortable conversations. Black Lives Matter. Indigenous lives matter.
We need to help influence this change and promote meaningful action if we want to move forward in addressing these social injustices. For me, I stand for equality, I stand for justice, and I stand for love. I also understand that I'm never going to fully understand, but I'm choosing to not be silent. I choose to stand with you, and enough is enough.
I will try to be better and do better, because you should never have to feel uncomfortable in your own skin. I hear you, I see you, I support you.
And if we stand united together on this issue, like me and my Opal sisters, we can make Australia a better place for everyone.
Enough is enough. As Opals, we stand in solidarity in support of our Black, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander teammates and community.
Not only do we need to talk about Black Lives Matter, we need to take action so change can occur. I will continue to educate myself on the history of both Australia and America, connect with Indigenous Australians, and use my voice to speak up when I hear racism.
Help us fight for equality. Together, we can make a difference. Please engage in racial conversations, no matter how difficult they may be. Support those fighting for racial and social justice. And as always, be kind and spread love.
There are a huge number of resources out there, and if you're looking for a place to get started, just reach out to me or any one of my Opals teammates and we'd be happy to point you in the right direction.
It's important to understand that before we can move forward, we need to listen to, stand up for and respect one another. I stand with you. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. Always have, always will. It's time for a change. It starts with us.
I'm not someone who speaks out about many things, but it's important for me to let people know, and I say it unapologetically, Black Lives Matter.
I'm going to make a stance. Are you?